Hemorrhoids and Sports. If you suffer from hemorrhoids, you're probably wondering how having them is going to affect any sports activity. Well, there is some good and bad news on this front. It all depends on the sport. I am going to run down some of the common ones and point out the good or bad in each. You are definitely going to find that some activities are more painful than others. Let's begin. Let's start with America's favorite pastime, baseball. The good thing about this particular sport is that, for the most part, you're on your feet most of the time. That is, of course, unless you're at bat and sitting in the dugout. Sitting is never a good thing for hemorrhoids. So you probably want to stand through most of the game if you happen to be suffering through a bad bout. Aside from that, there is one additional problem. You're going to be doing some running. Not as much as other sports, especially if your position is catcher where you're crouching through most of the game, but some. Every single time you run to make a catch, or if you're running to first on a hit, you're sending blood down through your body. The more running you do, the more blood is sent down. Eventually, if you do this enough, and depending on how severe your hemorrhoids are, you will notice that they begin to creep out of your anal canal. This is because the blood flow is making them swell. So if you're going to play baseball, you want to play a position where you're probably not going to do a lot of running. Pitching is a great position for those who have hemorrhoids, as pitchers do very little fielding. You want to avoid sitting and running. Catching is close to sitting, so you probably want to avoid that position as well. The above applies to other sports with running such as football, basketball, hockey, soccer and so on. Soccer is especially bad for hemorrhoids as you are practically never standing still. And soccer matches are also very long. This can be a real killer. Other sports you want to avoid at all costs are those where you're sitting a lot, such as horseback riding. This is especially bad on hemorrhoids between the bouncing on the horse and the sitting itself. A half hour of horseback riding can set your hemorrhoids back a week in recovery time. Golf is a great sport for hemorrhoids. Slow walks are easy on demand. Unless you use a golf cart, I don't recommend it. There is no sitting at all. The only thing you will notice is that when you swing on the drive, because of the way your body twists, if you suffer from external hemorrhoids, you will notice a slight pinching sensation at the bottom of the anal canal. This shouldn't be too painful, but can be if your hemorrhoids are thrombosed. I suffered from hemorrhoids for over 10 years, so I pretty much know what you can and can't do. Fortunately, I no longer have to worry about these things. You can read my story about how I beat my hemorrhoids in my signature below. I think you'll find it most helpful to you. Stop suffering the aggravation of hemorrhoids. Click below to order the H Miracle System from the official website now. It'll be the last hemorrhoids remedy you'll ever purchase.